So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant construction site yesterday near Savannah.
Of an immigration raid at a
And
Hyundai construction site
I
in
was
Georgia.
the one that
Listen to this.
reported the information that I had to ICE. But it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages. Some are not getting paid. Some are being trafficked. They send money home to their country. They give money to their handler. They have hardly anything left. They live in homes 5 families deep, have no quality of life. It's modern day slavery. So if you think that ICE is just going in and ripping people out of their jobs, these hardworking people that want a better life, well, guess what? Politicians have really screwed these people, because when they came here, they thought they were, hey, the border's open, we're coming in, we're going to get the 5-star treatment, and we can go to the big Walmart, and we can live in a 5-star hotel, and that's just not how it is. It's very bad conditions, very inhumane, and the Biden administration started a humanitarian crisis. So y'all can't just look at it like they're ripping good people off the job. They're probably saving their lives in the long run.
Did you see these videos of an immigration raid at a Hyundai construction site in Georgia? Listen to this.
Warrant for this entire construction site, okay? We're Homeland Security. We have a search warrant for the whole site. We need construction to cease immediately. We need all work to end on the site right now.
This happened at the construction site for the Hyundai and LG Energy Solutions new battery plant in Georgia, where agents from FBI, DEA, ICE, HSI, Georgia State Patrol, and others detained 450 people, including more than 300 Korean nationals. According to reports, agents went into the facility and asked everyone if they were U.S. citizens. Then they put U.S. citizens on one side and everyone else put on the other side and harassed and forced to show their immigration paperwork. Because of the raid, the South Korean government is very concerned about its company's investments in the U.S. and the treatment of its people. The South Korean government is trying to figure out why the construction site was raided, saying that the detained South Koreans had entered the U.S. on a B-1 temporary visitor visa. However, it is unclear if those workers subsequently tried to get a work visa or if they even knew that they couldn't work with the visa they had. But like we have seen from this administration, they're going after migrants regardless of their status. Hyundai did say that they're working with the U.S. government in the investigation, but if this is how the U.S. is going to treat workers, maybe more companies and potential employees should reconsider coming to the U.S. Look, I'm not trying to defend corporations that are probably taking advantage of their workers and their status. I'm concerned about the people. A lot of people were detained, which means kids probably went home with either one or both of their parents missing. These are people who are working, most likely paying taxes, and their only infraction is probably not having the proper paperwork to work in the U.S. And out of desperation, they took a job. This could all be a lot easier if the U.S. government actually let people adjust their status. If you think these people can migrate all the way to the U.S., get a job, pay taxes, but somehow they're not smart enough or law-abiding enough to adjust their status, then you have no idea how the immigration system actually works. This government makes it intentionally difficult for people to adjust their immigration status. Or in the case of the Trump administration, revoking people's status to make them undocumented. So undocumented people can be exploited, used as pawns in these political games, and at the end are the ones that are blamed for everything while the bosses and corporations get off free.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant.
So this is the fat, feckless cunt that called them in. They weren't illegal. They aren't illegal. They're here on valid work visas, you stupid b****. And you know what they were doing? They were training American workers. And furthermore, do you know what that Hyundai plant manufactures? Fucking transformers for the American electrical grid. You stupid f***.
Hello guys, now how are you doing? I'm hoping that you're doing well wherever you're watching me from. Now this video, this is a MAGA woman. I don't know if it's she's chasing cloud or it's something that is so real, because she went out and called ICE, to come for these workers in this factory. And people are so mad with her. People don't like the way she reacted, because people are trying, to mend things. Right now, workers are not there, and America is trying so much, to keep the little workers that they have in their factories. But this one is messing them up. That's why they're so angry, and people went on and called her out. I want us to watch the video first, and then I'll be reacting on it. So make sure that you watch to the very end. You get to hear from me. And if this is your first time in this place, thank you so much for tuning in, and please do subscribe if it's your first time. And for our returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for always being with us. Let's rock in and see what we can unpack from this, and then later on we can have a conversation about this.
I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE.
So just to be clear, what you're proud of is hundreds of people being ripped out of a Georgia factory in one of the biggest ICE raids in history. 475 people, most of them South Koreans, were detained. And here's the thing. Hyundai already confirmed none of them even worked directly for Hyundai. Hyundai, that's how you pronounce it, by the way. They were subcontractors. Many were here on expired visas, not illegals hiding in the shadows like you're trying to sell. Translation? You didn't even expose some massive criminal conspiracy. You just disrupted lives, families, and jobs, and you're bragging on here online like it's a badge of honor. Maybe instead of clout chasing ICE, you should chase a history book.
Notice how the ICE raid at the Hyundai plant happened at a factory on American soil. Factory just like the ones that we are trying to get back, allegedly in the US with more tariffs. Nothing says bring your business here like we're gonna round up all the workers. And speaking of workers, hard at work. They were not freeloading. They were not being rounded up at home because they were sitting around on their butts, using up American benefits, American money, whatever the frick you want to call them. They were literally producing for our economy. They were contributing in a way that probably many Americans wouldn't even apply for. Like many Americans probably wouldn't even apply for the jobs that they were doing. The whole thing also just reminds me of how there's that poem. First they came for the X group, then they came for the X group, and then when they came for me, there was no one left to help. ICE is no longer targeting just Latino communities, but also other immigrant communities as well. They are feeling emboldened and they feel like they have the president's backing, but they do not have the people's backing. And we are going to continue showing up and showing out and making sure that they know that they are not welcome. Immigrants are what make America great. No one is illegal when the very land that you are walking on belongs to people that you genocided in order to take it.
What happened today? Hyundai, their main location in Georgia, was just raided by ICE. And they're reporting upwards of 475 employees detained, including over 400 South Korean nationals. Hyundai is a South Korean company. It also halted construction nearby of an EV battery facility that South Korea was investing in as part of all the deals they're trying to make with the Trump administration to avoid all of the tariff bullshit he's trying to apply to South Korea. Now, you can't just look at this as a simple ICE raid. You guys have to remember, there's new leadership in South Korea. The last South Korean leader was like Donald Trump. He was declaring martial law. He wanted to make it a military type of country, just like North Korea. And if you remember, the citizens of South Korea ousted him. They protested in the streets and they ousted him. And so this is the new president of South Korea, who's quite the opposite of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump already has an issue with South Korea and this new leader. Secondly, the United States has always been there for South Korea, promising to protect them with military support if the dictator from North Korea decides to do anything to South Korea. And now that's all gone because Donald Trump is friends with the North Korean dictator. Like, this isn't just all happening as a single, oh, we're just going to detain, immigrants. This is all part of a bigger plan to harm countries that are not pro-Trump and like Trump and want the same kind of fucking fascist, countries that Trump wants. And these are South Korean nationals. They didn't sneak across a border or anything like this. So this is a really big deal because there's a lot of companies that are South Korean in the United States. And I wouldn't want to stay in the United States. If I were a South Korean company, I'd divest, I'd bail. If you're going to treat our nationals like this, who are just trying to work. I thought they were supposed to be the worst of the worst criminals our tax dollars are paying to remove. Crazy.
Hello guys, now welcome back again. And I was going through the comment section and I was just laughing because the way black people were reacting on them right now. My black people are fed up with these MAGA supporters because for the very first time, not even from the very beginning, they didn't vote for this. They were calling out the supporters who wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They were telling them, even the Democrats, they were all educating them what choosing this current government will mean to them and to the people that were around them. And I guess they didn't take caution while voting, because right now I think it's messy for everyone, and most importantly for them, because they're not used to this. They are not used to this hardship. But for my black folks, they're very much okay with it because they are used to this. They are born in this, and they've grown up inside this. So they know every, they have the script for this game. So it's nothing new to them. And so the white people are facing it rough right now. I did even share the videos down there of these black farmers, and they're really crying out. They need they need workers. Trump got in, he told them and promised them that he was going to save America. He was going to fix America. He was going to do this and this for Americans. Little did they know that he was going to do the opposite of what he was saying there. The very first time that he got to power, I think 50% of the people had they were so mad at him, and it looked like he was in power for the longest time, yet he had not even spent a lengthy time there. And so the white people were very surprised for the very first time, because sometimes I think most of them, they voted him because they saw that he's a white person and he's going to continue this white whitish thing, and that is support for the very white people. That is, advantage to the very to the people that put him in power. And also for some of Latinos, they voted him thinking that they are close to whiteness, without knowing that this will only ruin them, because I think they were also, they got into this mess of getting deported later on. And so right now, many Americans, like I said, those who are in business working, those who are in business, those who ventured, into farming, doing business here and there, they're trying so much to keep their workers. But these workers, somehow, they are limited. And so when someone comes in and, tries, to snitch them, of course, for the one who are in that factory, later on, people discovered that they are documented workers. They have visas. They have working visa, and so they were legally there. But people are so mad with her, and I get the anger where it is. But I really love the way black people are answering them and saying that they wanted this, and let them dance to the tune. They created the music, the rhythm. Let them dance to it, because you have to test whatever you create for people. Even a car, even any gadget that you create, you have to test it before you bring it. So my black people are saying, you know what, test it for us so that you can sell it to us. And I found that very hilarious. And this shows how costly racism can be, because from the look of things, they thought this government will support every white person, but it turned out to be different. They didn't want Kamala Harris simply because he was supporting black people, simply because herself, she's a black person. And so they wouldn't want a black person to take over. And I think that's why they are into this. And like my black people, I say, dance to the tune. It's your turn, baby. Goodbye, my people. This marks the end of this session. And if this is your first time in this place, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, for making this your place. Please do subscribe, share our content, and like our videos also. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. We love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love that you show. Thank you so much, for choosing us. We do value you so much. And I'm really hoping that we're going to have impactful, relationship together. And, we are going to, sorry for that, we're going to talk a lot of matters that are affecting all of us. Bye, my people. Hope to see you then when I bring in my next video. But until then, keep safe, support a brother, support a sister. This the least that we can do for humanity. Remember, humanity is the gospel that we preach here. Goodbye, people.